Hey guys, welcome to January. Welcome to 2023. We are going to be unpacking a lot in this energy overview today. We are going to be talking about the month of January, doing sort of a week by week breakdown in terms of the energy that is coming in. We are looking at January 1st itself in terms of the energetic imprint of this specific day as it marks the new year, New Year's Day, according to our Gregorian calendar. And as a result of that, what energetic imprint is this day holding and how is that contributing to the overall picture that we're looking at in 2023. And we're also going to talk about the year 2023 generally from an energetic perspective, look at some of the bigger, more collective energy based transits that are going on throughout 2023 and try to sort of get a pulse on the blueprint that is unfolding this year on an energetic level and what we may be able to expect in terms of our own personal growth over the course of this year and what's just happening on a larger collective level for us. So that being said, you guys, let's get into this information. There's a lot of it today. This is probably going to be a bit of a lengthy report. You might want to get yourself something to drink, grab some snacks, and hunker down for this energetic overview that we have coming now. So let's get started. Okay, January 2023. We're going to start this overview by looking at the month of January. Like I said, we're going to break it down week by week. I've kind of put together what I feel is sort of a good summary of each week that we're going to talk about as well. And then we're going to look at the energy, like I said, of 2023 sort of like as a whole. And then we're going to narrow our focus back down to the microcosm and January 1st itself, the energy that we have playing out for today, for New Year's Day. And like I said, how that imprint, that energetic blueprint is also impacting the greater unfolding of energy throughout our 2023 year that is upon us now. So, okay, let's start with the first week of January then. Now, to start our first week of January, this is actually likely to be a really powerful and revealing week. It's likely to be an intense week. Themes of relationships, finances, value, and specifically like abuses of power, things that have been going on behind the scenes that have been not in the best interest of the whole or certain facets of whatever deal might be going on. Like, this is the type of stuff that is likely to be coming to light this first week of January. It's also, we may find ourselves sort of facing some demons that we have been sort of struggling with in terms of what we are willing to sacrifice various parts of ourselves for in order to maintain some type of status or reputation or image or facade or sense of security in some type of way as well. There's definite themes coming up the first week of January. We have an exact Pluto-Venus conjunction to start our week, and Venus is going to be moving into Aquarius, so this is going to be bringing an energy shift this first week of January as well. But we have an exact Sun Uranus trine that is going to be playing out and leading into our full moon in the sign of Cancer, which is also going to be an aspect to Uranus. And this is also in the midst of some really strong black moon energy that's coming up. So we've got a lot of energy that is sort of indicating navigating some shadows, sort of really being put up against perhaps our own self-sabotaging behaviors or our own lack of perception of our own value. And as a result of that, where we are surrendering our power and accepting less than we deserve in various dynamics of our life. This is going to bring up, again, like relationship and partnership and financial dynamics, and also very much abuses of power that have been going on in places of authority that have in any way sort of like corrupted or distorted a sense of purity or innocence as well. People in authority abusing power in the context of sudden change and liberation. It's very interesting because this first week of January, there is a definite, with this Venus-Pluto conjunction going on, there's power, control, abuses of power in the sign of Capricorn by higher ups, and the impact that that's had essentially on our heart and where we have experienced like more of a victim complex, or the sense of lack internally that we have developed as a result perhaps of this abuse of power that's maybe gone on. Like, this is what is likely to sort of take the forefront as we are starting this first week. But then we have the Sun Uranus trine coming in, and then we have this full moon playing out in the signs of Capricorn and Cancer. That is about and with Pluto right there as well, that is about shedding light on what's been going on behind closed doors that has been out of balance or unfair or unjust or corrupt or abusive or coercive or manipulative, or just generally like not straightforward, or being done in secret for any type of ulterior motive or anything like that has been working against the best interest of the people. Cancer's a sign ruled by the moon. The moon is the collective. The moon rules the feelings and the emotional urges and the inner world and the unconscious of the people, the greater population at large. And this full moon, I feel like, is going to really expose on a personal level maybe where we've been sabotaging ourselves through attachments to that which is not good for us, out of any deep-seated fears or sense of lack internally, and on a more collective level where there have been abuses of power going on in government or authority or financial institutions or elite or ruling classes, and how that has worked to the detriment of the people. And again, in the context of this Venus Pluto conjunction that we are starting this year and this week with, which is shining a light also on abuses of power that have gone on, and the corruption of innocence on one hand, but also the separation from our own value, worth, and potential that has created and resulted on in another hand. This year is going to be a year of empowerment of the individual as a result of realizing and seeing how our power has been taken from us, and rediscovering the worth, the value, and the potential within us that we are then taking back and using as our cloak of power, as our mantle of power going forward. This is going to be a period, a year of self-empowerment through the discovery of the truth, which is the value and the potential that we had been led to believe wasn't there. So we're coming back online in a lot of ways, and this is going to be a really powerful and a very transformative year in a lot of ways. And we'll get into that, but it is really getting started in this first week of January. We're here, here we are. There's also, I feel like, a sense of like a powerful force, or like a magical energy, or like a divine like plan unfolding behind the scenes that is kind of carrying us through this first week as well. There's likely to be an emphasis on feminine energy, women in power, women sort of seizing their power or coming back into power. Remember, we are talking about Venus, the feminine, with Pluto, and this can go a couple different ways. There's a really dark and ugly side to this energy, but the flip side of this energy is this tremendous sense of self-empowerment through the recognition and the seizure of this creative force and this creative power and this creative potential that comes through the heart, right? And so this is also really being emphasized as a tool that we can utilize, and is going to be manifesting throughout the collective in various forms and capacities through this first week as well. This powerful feminine energy that is manifesting, creating change, and also promoting growth. Also, coming into the context of this full moon that's happening in the sign of Cancer, which is also a very feminine sign in nature. This is going to be women or feminine energy as a catalyst for liberation and change this first week, as we are sort of facing some demons, and also, breaking addictions and overcoming, detaching from a lot of things could also be represented this first week of January. Now, moving into the second week of January, we have more Uranus transits, more Uranus energy coming into effect. This is a very Uranian month, and the sun is moving into Aquarius, so we're heading towards Aquarius season in the month of January, and there is definitely this emphasis on this Uranian Aquarian energy that we have really kicking, getting us right started, as Venus is going to be moving into Aquarius the first week of January as well. But we're going to have Mercury retrograde forming a trine to Uranus the second week. We're also going to be in the black moon is going to be switching signs, leaving Cancer and moving into the sign of Leo. And this is significant as well. The black moon takes 9 months to transit a sign. So we are ending the first into the second week of January. We're ending the 9-month cycle transit of the black moon in Cancer. And the black moon is moving into the sign of Leo, which means that the Leo Aquarius axis, this is where we're going to be sort of navigating and working to gain an awareness of some of our shadow side issues over this next 9 months. And again, this is also happening in correspondence with this highlight on this Uranian energy and this Aquarian energy and this Aquarius Leo axis polarity that is starting to gain the prominence moving through the month of January. And we're going to be talking a lot about the black moon in Leo, which is a drastically different energy from the black moon in Cancer. But what I will tell you guys, sort of like right off the bat up front, I do feel like over the course of this 9 month cycle, people are going to sort of lose their taste in a lot of ways for like celebrity culture. It should be interesting. There's likely to be a lot of darker and more ugly sides of like celebrity and elite type lifestyle that comes out and is exposed over this next 9 months. So this is going to be probably quite an interesting period of time that we're going through, just in terms of the entertainment world and the impact also that it has on the psyche and the subconscious of the collective of humanity with this Leo Aquarius energy. So it's going to be interesting as we move through this next 9 months to see in terms of like the pop culture and the more world stage type stuff as well. What begins to become what is highlighted and what themes begin to arise. So that is also happening the second week of January. The second week of January, you guys, we're also having Mars stationing direct. We have 3 planets stationing direct in the month of January. We're going to have Mars station direct, then we're going to have Mercury station direct, and then we are going to have, last but not least, you guys, Uranus stationing direct. This is a big month that starts out in, really reevaluating some things and questioning some things, and perhaps some things being a bit up in the air, but big changes, huge unexpected shifts and changes happening in the month of January that are ultimately very liberating, and we will come to find have set us on a much better trajectory and path in terms of our ability to truly go through a necessary phase of personal growth throughout the course of 2023. So we have our first big direct moving planet happening the second week of January, and that's really powerful. Mars moving, stationing direct. This is really going to cause us to want to start moving forward and take some actions, make some choices, make some decisions, and start going in a new direction as well. And really are with Jupiter currently transiting the sign of Aries, which rules Mars. This is what the risks and the new ventures that we are taking, especially as we get towards the end of January, alongside the Aquarius new moon, they're going to be really supported by universe in terms of having a successful outcome and just sort of feeling blessed or fortunate or lucky in some way. So it's going to be a good time as we get more towards, we kind of want to wait for Mercury to go retro or to go direct as well. But when we come to the third, and we're getting there, when we get to the third week, that's really going to be a really good time to start taking some action, move ourselves forward. But this second week, we also are going to have a Venus-Uranus square going on, and Mercury is going to be forming a trine to the nodes as well. We're going to have also the Sun in a sextile to Neptune throughout the course of the second week. So it's likely to be week number 2 of January is likely to be a week of unexpected changes in plans and relationships for sure. Lots of surprises are going to be happening this second week, and we may sort of come to a point where we feel like am I dreaming? Is this real? There's also probably going to be some power struggles and shifting power dynamics that we are navigating or that we can sort of feel brewing. And this is because the Sun is also the end of the second week of January, moving to the third week of January, going to be building into the conjunction to Pluto. So, we had the Venus-Pluto conjunction to start our month of January, and now moving into the third week of January, we're going to be having the Sun and Pluto come into a conjunction, and this is a very tense and intense dynamic, clashes of wills, power struggles, major revelations about things that have been going on in secret that is really having a majorly transformative impact in one way or another. So that's where we're heading as we're closing out this second week of January. But, I feel like the second week of January, we may find ourselves still, especially, with this Mars direct energy, but it's in the sign of Gemini, ruled by Mercury, who will still be retrograde. So we may sort of find ourselves still juggling a little bit, choices and decisions, not really knowing what to do in the context of perhaps some major revelations that have come to us or some major changes that just sort of popped up unexpectedly out of nowhere. We may be sort of questioning what we're going to do or what action we're going to take, but also feeling, like the time is drawing close and we're getting to a point where we're going to need to make a decision or we're going to need to take some action in some way or another. And then, this energy bridging us into this week 3. Now, week 3 is another really powerful week of astrology that we have playing out in January. We're also going to be having our new moon in Aquarius that's going to be happening on January 21st in this third week of January. We're also going to be having Mercury stationing direct this third week of January on the 18th. So, it's really between the 12th when Mars stations direct and the 18th when Mercury stations direct, where we may sort of find ourselves like a little bit like in this limbo, like wanting to take a step forward, but maybe feeling held back a little bit. And it is in our best interest to wait until the 18th before really making that choice or really taking that action if we can possibly help it. But Mercury is going to station direct on the same day that the sun is coming into an exact conjunction with Pluto. And this is really profound. Mercury stationing direct while simultaneously the sun is forming a conjunction to Pluto. This to me is saying that we discovered something over this Mercury retrograde period that blew the lid off of something. Like Pandora's box has been opened. Like we are seeing the truth about something, and it's having a very transformative and regenerative effect somehow. And it has to do with government, authority, bosses, rule makers, regulators, financial institutions, big business. This is likely to be, some big news that we're hearing that has a really powerful or intense or profound impact on us. Some really powerful conversation or encounter or headline or something that is just packing a big punch. Okay, we'll put it that way. We also have the sun moving into the sign of Aquarius this third week of January, and the new moon in Aquarius itself, you guys, is going to be happening in literally an exact opposition to the black moon in Leo. So the black moon and Leo themes are going to be very relevant over the course of our new moon and Aquarius cycle, and we will talk a lot about that in our new moon and Aquarius video that comes out on the 21st. But really, this new moon and this energy that we have playing out to kind of end this third week in January has a lot to do with seeing the shadows and pride and ego and wealth and power, seeing the dark side of the upper echelons of things, okay? And taking accountability as well, maturing and refining things in ourselves and choosing, actually, this is like an alignment with like a more traditional value system that we are going into this month of, or this Aquarius cycle with, a cycle where we are turned off. Like I said, I feel like this is starting a period of time where we're sort of turned off to celebrity culture and choosing this more traditional perspective and like value system, and sort of like wanting to get back to like a more wholesome approach to things in one way or another. But it's no longer, but it's weird because it's like, because for so long, it's been, it's like it's counterculture now. You know what I mean? It's like having these more traditional values moving forward throughout this month and throughout 2023 is the new counterculture. It brings this Aquarian theme and this Aquarian vibe, even though it actually is like the more traditional thing, because we've gotten so far from those traditions or those morals or those like original values or those like that like sense of like wholesomeness and purity and stuff like that, in terms of especially like the feminine energy and innocence and youth and stuff like that, that falling back into that style of dealing with things is the more radical approach. So it's interesting. I feel like the dynamic where the traditional is now like the rebellious. That's sort of the vibe that I'm feeling like is coming through with this new moon and Aquarius cycle. But really, I feel like it's going to be exposing like the dark sides of culture in a lot of ways, and the celebrity culture and Hollywood and stuff like that. There's been a lot of that going on lately, but I feel like this next 9 month transit of the Black Moon through Leo is really gonna bring that up in a lot of ways. I feel like this week three is really also about some very powerful revelations about rulership and government and authority. And again, like this like celebrity culture and how it's been used to influence and control the population. And the collective is sort of becoming turned off to this and no longer embracing it. It's like it's sort of like we're detaching ourselves from our ego over this next 9 months in a way so that we can't be as influenced by our ego anymore, because the new cool thing is going to be uniqueness and individuality. It's not going to be anymore like glamorized to lose your identity in order to like become or embody or present yourself as a representation of like a celebritized ideal, like a glamorized ideal. Like we're no longer going to be all trying to be like cardboard cutouts of the same like sex symbols or like beauty role models or whatever. Like it's going to become much more trendy to be very unique and very authentic, actually, I think, moving throughout this 2023, because really what is being supported universally is our process of self-actualization and development and growth in alignment with our authentic truth and our unique individuality. Like that is the central focus and the central force and push from universe, and that's what's being supported this year. And I feel like as Pluto moves into Aquarius, which is something we're going to be talking about in a little bit, we are more and more going to start feeling more empowered by aligning with our own individuality as opposed to trying to become the ideal of the culture or of the group. So I think this is a very interesting transition that this month of January is bringing us as well. Now, moving into week 4, the last 10 days of the month of January, bing, 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 January 22nd, Uranus stations direct, you guys. This is it. Like Uranus has been retrograde for so long. Uranus is the last planet holdout still going retrograde once every other planet has gone direct, and Uranus is ruling this Aquarius cycle. Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius, and now that we have Uranus going direct as well, and also the day after this new moon in Aquarius, it's on, you guys. We got Mercury moving forward. We got Mars moving forward. We got Uranus moving forward. We're not holding back. We're also moving forward, but in alignment with this new and authentic version of ourselves. We're actually more like the original version of ourselves that we may have detached from or gotten lost away from or hid from or, banished from our existence. Like we're calling that back in. We're calling back the pieces of our soul that we may have detached ourselves from various points along the ways, and we are taking back our power through recognizing the truth of our value, our potential, and our purpose. And this 4th week of January, I feel like this is when this is sort of really getting going, and it's going to be carrying us through the rest of this 2023 year. Now, this 4th week, of course, the big news is going to be Uranus stationing direct, but we also have Venus leaving Aquarius, entering the sign of Pisces. We're also going to be having the Sun coming into an exact trine with Mars as well, and we're going to have Mercury coming into a trine with Uranus again. So, very busy week that we have playing out this the 4th week. Lots of things happening and lots of things happening fast. Uranus, you guys, Uranus stationing in the sky. When a planet stations in the sky, it puts like a tremendous emphasis on the energy of that planet. Uranus is shocks, surprises, expect the unexpected, awakening, liberation, Major change, there's going to be some type of major unexpected change or shift or something that comes up this fourth and final week of January when Uranus is stationed. And then it's gonna also do something that is like really inspiring us to like take that action and to move forward, with the sun coming into the trine with Mars in air signs as well, and Mars being direct now. Lots of just, this is a high speed, high octane, high octave energy. It could be a bit nervous energy. We might feel like we have like lightning running through our veins to some extent this fourth week. And we may just really feel like, on one hand, sort of things may be falling into place. Like the changes that are happening now may be long needed, long awaited changes that are kind of just like falling into place, where we've been maybe waiting for a very long period of time for something to shift. That could be happening in this energy. A week of big and unexpected changes, though. High energy, also high vitality and physical vigor as well. We should really be feeling physically strong and good by this last week of January, and needing to take action, needing to make changes, feeling like we're really ready to explode out of the gate now. Like this is the energy to do it. This is the energy. If you've been sort of, wondering maybe if you should take that leap of faith, this is the energy to do it, to learn to fly. And you're gonna find your wings, or you're gonna land on your feet one way or another. And it's also, this is the time to get to work as well. Any of those goals that we began with the new moon in Capricorn and during the Capricorn cycle that maybe we had to go back and revise or make adjustments to, like, this is the time to move forward. This is the time to make the forward progress. Like I said, we're going to be supported. Mars in the sign of Gemini, Mercury now direct, and the trine to Uranus as well. This is things, conversations, ideas that are very supportive to putting things right for us in some type of way. And with Jupiter in the sign of Aries right now, is whatever we're doing, as long as we're practicing, a measure of self-discipline and self-control, and we're not being too reckless and we're not being too ego-oriented, like as long as we are doing our work and doing it right, and taking the risks that we have thought through and strategized, in following our heart and following our passions, like we're going to be supported. Our endeavors are going to be successful while we have Jupiter transiting the sign of Aries, in terms of whatever we're doing, whatever we're talking about, whatever we're thinking about, whatever ideas we're trying to actually put into practice at this point in time. So very supported period of time for getting to work, making progress, getting things done. And by the end of January, I do feel like by the time that we get to the end of this month, I feel like we're going to be viewing ourselves and our creative power and our potential and worth generally in a whole new light. We are ready to make a choice. We are ready to take that action, and we're ready to get to work on manifesting our goals. This is a brand new cycle of self-empowerment. That is really what this whole month of January, to me, on an energetic level, in terms of the transits as they're playing out and just the general vibes, how they're coming together in the context of this greater story that's being told right now. I feel like this is a month of a new beginning in terms of our own sense of self-empowerment, our relationship to ourselves. And, it is likely to take the course of this entire year to really bring us back to that place where we feel like we're sitting on our throne, and we are sort of much more consciously in control of how and what is happening to us in our lives. We sort of have the reins a little bit more. I feel like, it may take this entire cycle, this entire process throughout this entire year to really come to that point. But we're realizing and we're noticing, we're discovering what it is that is holding us back and what must be done in order to get back to the point where we should be, and to set ourselves up in order to receive that which we know we have either earned, or that we deserve, or that we need to feel fulfilled at this point in time as well. Remember, we're coming out of this 222 year, and universe is trying to bring us on and through this process of self-actualization to help us activate our destiny and rise into our potential, so that we can experience a much greater dimension of life and creation, and a sense of fulfillment and wholeness and purpose in ways perhaps that we haven't up until this point in time, when maybe we were more detached from our authentic purpose, and therefore from what can reinforce that sense of fulfillment within us. But this year, I feel like the facades are breaking down, and we are moving away from anything that prevents us from really actually like feeling good inside. Let's talk more about this year generally now, okay? Some of the big transits that we have going on and the vibrational shifts that are going to be making a big impact on essentially the collective and our collective experience. So, number one, we're going to be having Saturn transit into the sign of Pisces throughout 2023. Saturn has been in Aquarius for quite a while, and now we're going to have Saturn moving into the sign of Pisces. When I think about Saturn in Pisces, first of all, Saturn is the judge, the disciplinarian. Saturn rules karma, is the lord of time. It slows things down. It demands accountability. It demands realness, okay? It's a very grounded and practical and realistic type of energy. And Pisces is very much the opposite. Pisces a lot of times wants to escape from reality and wants to avoid things because really it wants to merge back into spirit and source and all like the good fuzzy feels and not have to worry about the more sticky or difficult or like Saturn type of reality situations. So I feel like 2023, you guys, is going to be a year where we are getting real about a lot of things that maybe we had tried to hide from ourselves in the past, and having no choice but to sort of take accountability for these things. No longer being able to hide essentially from our own higher knowing, right? From our own spiritual truth, from our own higher selves. I think we're going to have a responsibility to our higher selves and to this inner knowing and to our higher truths this year that we like can't avoid. And because of Saturn's role as the lord of karma, I feel like there's going to be sort of like an instantaneous karmic backlash that we experience when we are being deceptive or when we are avoiding the reality or when we are avoiding the truth or when we are trying to hide or escape or to get out of things. I don't think that we're going to be able to do that this year. I think that's the lesson. Saturn is the teacher, right? The disciplinarian. In Pisces, the lesson is to stop avoiding reality. The lesson is to face the problems. The lesson is to break through the fog and see things for what they are and quit creating a fantasy or an illusion for ourselves in order to avoid dealing with difficulties that perhaps are things that we would rather escape or hide from than have to face head on. But we do have Jupiter in the sign of Aries, you guys. So this, on the other hand, is also empowering us with a sense of courage and strength and assertiveness and motivation and willpower to face some of these more difficult things that maybe we would like to hide from. But I think that Saturn in Pisces is going to sort of have this effect, having to face reality and the reality that we've created, whether we like it or not. We can't run from our problems when we have Saturn in Pisces, and it's a sobering influence as well. Pisces is also a sign that has a tendency to escape from reality through indulging in substances and being sort of up in the air and not in a lucid state, okay? But with Saturn there, I feel like this is definitely a more sobering influence. And I feel like we're also going to be sort of taking a more critical look at a lot of our spiritual beliefs as well. A lot of the things that maybe we've been buying into, a lot of the, I feel like we're going to get a more mature, grounded, real, and also meaningful, though, connection to our higher selves, to our personal spiritual connection, to a higher power. This is strengthening and reinforcing our relationship to a higher power, but it's also cutting out the frivolousness or anything that is not accurate or where we've been being deceived or misled. We're likely to be, that type of stuff is likely to be coming to an end as well. But really, this sobering influence playing out that is forcing us to see the truth. No more fantasies, no more illusions, no more deception, no more lies when we have Saturn transiting the sign of Pisces. So, and this again, exposing deception or lies or lack of clarity about the truth of things within religious and spiritual organizations as well could be a major thing that we see. Sort of the karmic law laying itself down when it comes to spiritual organizations or just our own lack of willingness to face our own truth with Saturn in the sign of Pisces this year. The next influence that I want to talk about this year, and we've been talking about some of this already, but we have Jupiter in the sign of Aries. Jupiter recently re-entered the sign of Aries, and Jupiter will be in Aries through May, and then Jupiter is going to move on into the sign of Taurus. Now, I feel like Jupiter moving from Aries into the sign of Taurus, it's an interesting progression because we're talking about Jupiter in the sign of Aries, and Jupiter in the sign of Aries, this is about like fighting for personal truth, like fighting for personal freedom, taking a risk, moving forward, again, being blessed in our new ventures and in what we're fighting for. It's all about embodying as well a new identity or a new personal truth, or just this expanded capacity and ability to act in a new way or to take action with success. This is also really expanding, again, like the divine masculine and the fighting instinct. Like people are not backing down. People are willing to fight for their personal beliefs, okay, when we have this Jupiter Aries energy. But it's like then Jupiter leaves Aries and moves into the sign of Taurus, which is a sign of things growing from the earth and resources and value and abundance. So it's like whatever we're motivated to fight for, whatever power, again, we're taking back, because that's what this Aries Jupiter to me is doing in this overall context of things. Like if we think about it, we're starting with this Pluto Venus energy, and we have we're sort of like up against maybe the things that were stealing our power in the past coming more to the forefront. But we have this Jupiter Aries energy. It's like this spiritual warrior within all of us, giving us the courage to really like stand our ground and fight back, where maybe in the past we had surrendered out of a sense of fear. Well, we're not doing that anymore in this energy. And what we are fighting for to start the year will actually, it seems, come to create an enhanced sense of stability and comfort and abundance moving into the summer and into the fall. Jupiter and Taurus, this is an expansion and abundance in food, comfort, finances, partnership dynamics, wealth, material possessions generally. So whatever we're fighting for, okay, whatever power we're stepping into and whatever power we're taking back and whatever value that we're recognizing within us that is the catalyst for this re-seizure of our own power is actually, like I said, like it's leading to success. And what this success is translating into when Jupiter moves into Taurus is success in terms of financial abundance or financial stability or an abundance of resources. It's actually looking like, despite how things may appear at this moment, that moving into next spring and next summer, there is a potential for like actually like an abundance or like a surplus of food and supplies and resources. And this is a very positive period of time for financial wealth and development and success. However, I do feel, again, like this really hinges on our ability to be working with ourselves through this process of personal growth and expansion and self-improvement and self-actualization. It's like something about, we're coming online, we're activating ourselves, like we are taking this action, we're making these choices, we're executing on these plans, and they're paying off come next spring, come next summer, come next fall. There should be some very abundant harvests in the fall following whatever risks we're taking or whatever ventures we're starting or whatever seeds we're planting as we start this year, okay? So, very interesting. The risks we take now will be paying off materially and physically as we go throughout the course of this year. And the last, really big energy that I want to talk about that is coming up in this 2023, and this is just the beginning of it because it's not going to be sustained, but we're going to get our first taste of it this year, is Pluto entering the sign of Aquarius, you guys. This is really it. This is really, we talk about this age of Aquarius and this transition to the age of Aquarius. Well, Pluto entering the sign of Aquarius, dipping his toe in this year, even though he's going to be coming back out, he'll be going back. And so we're starting to move into this vibration. And this, to me, is the energy that is truly empowering the individual. This to me is the energy where the power is coming out of these authorities and these governments and these establishments and these ruling classes, long established orders of power from the past. And it is coming into the hands of the individual who is going through this process of self-actualization, rediscovering their value, potential, and creative ability, and taking power back. Okay. Pluto entering the sign of Aquarius, empowering the individual, empowering humanity through the microcosm, okay? Unleashing the power of the collective and collective consciousness. Aquarius is a sign of collective consciousness. Pluto is all about deep wells of power. As we've got Pluto going in the sign of Aquarius, you guys, this is why we've been tested. This is why we've been put through so much. This is why we've been radically changed in so many ways back into alignment with our authentic truth in a lot of cases over this past couple of years, preparing us for this Pluto in Aquarius energy and the need to be very conscious of where our mind is going and what we are holding in our consciousness, because the power of the collective to manifest through our conscious activity is going to be very enhanced over this next 20 years while we have Pluto transiting the sign of Capricorn or Aquarius, Pluto transiting the sign of Aquarius. Your power lies in your authenticity, individual uniqueness in the context of what that contributes to the overall whole. That is where this is coming in. That is, why I was saying earlier, there's going to be this trend away from how we can all be cookie cutters of the same beauty standard, the same, just across the board standard in order to gain influence, to how can we be the most unique, original, unauthentic version of ourselves, and how does that process contribute in a significant way to the benefit of the overall whole. That's where the power is going to lie. That's where the influence is going to lie. That's where the new beauty standard is going to lie. In merit, okay? That's where this is going. It's going to be less about everybody needing to be the same, and it's going to be and being rewarded for that, and it's going to be more about how do you stand out, and how does that ability to stand out benefit everybody else. That is where, like I said, that is where the power and that is where the influence is going to go. If you're the best at something, prove it. If you can prove it, then we'll follow you. Like, that's going to be sort of the new order, the new way of doing things. And it's going to be less about, I've been put in this position and I've got the most money and I can send this message and I can control this narrative, so I can use this influence and this sway to mold minds and gain influence that way. Again, because like I said, this is simultaneously happening in the context of this Black Moon transit through the sign of Leo, which is going to be, I think, turning us off to being influenced through, again, celebrity culture or trends and stuff like that. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes and how this unfolds. But, honestly, at the end of the day, Pluto and Aquarius, you guys, this is self-actualize, activate your destiny, activate your potential, or face utter destruction of the ego so that you can go through that process. And I feel like that is sort of the two polarities, the two ways that things are going to be overall, the two kind of basic experiences that people are going to be having as we go through this 2023 energy and, moving into the Pluto and Aquarius energy as well. It's going to be, very, very empowering for those individuals who are operating from a place of authentic truth, because universe wants that cell, that individual potential activated and served to the greater good. But if we're hiding, again, it's all these pieces coming together to help promote this overall cause. Saturn in the sign of Pisces, if we're still ruling karma, ruling judgment, the harsh disciplinarian, right? If we're still hiding from the truth of ourselves, this is going to be a year where we are facing some really, really difficult experiences that may really, really, truly break us down, especially Black Moon and Leo on that ego-based level, and force us to see the truth of ourselves in a way that we can no longer hide and are forced to put the pieces back together in a way that makes sense to our overall purpose. So, you guys, it's crazy. No more facades, power and influence through true talent and true ability. It's the stars are going to rise, but they're going to rise because being an inspiration for others to also become their own star. You know what I mean? And it's going to be this ripple effect of people being inspired to become their best selves. And it's going to lead to, you guys, this transition of power from the hierarchies of the past to a more decentralized network of self-actualized individuals who are actually acting as the role models and examples for others who are also going through this similar process. So it is a year, you guys, of self-improvement. It is a year of getting it together and coming into our best self. But it's going to be really interesting to see where we're at when 2023 ends, because I feel like the world is going to look radically different after this year. So that's what I have to say, you guys, about the month of January, also about the year of 2023 generally. Now I want to, like I said, go back to the beginning. I want to talk about Sunday, January 1st, 2023, because this is the day of our calendar New Year. This is what we consider to be New Year's Day. And so I feel like it's important to look at the energy present on New Year's Day so that we can, in another way, get an idea of what is unlikely to unfold throughout the course of the year. We're looking at the natal chart for our New Year's Day this year, which holds all the energy imprinted in this 2023 year as well. So we got a very powerful alignment of planets playing out for our January 1st energy. We have Venus and Pluto in an exact conjunction, 12 a.m. on January 1st, literally almost to the minute. They're like 2 degree minutes apart. It's insanely close. And not only that, we also have a moon in Taurus that is actually coming into alignment with the Chiron point, which is bringing in these Chiron themes as well. And the moon in Taurus is, of course, ruled by Venus. So Venus, Pluto, Chiron themes, these are what we can expect to be some of the major archetypal presences throughout the course of our year. This year, I feel like has like sort of a double-edged sword going on. There are definite themes of the destruction of innocence that are playing out this year and sort of opening Pandora's box as well, with Venus and Pluto in a conjunction in the sign of Capricorn with the moon in Taurus at the Chiron point to start this January off, to start this 2023 off. However, this destruction of innocence, or this destruction of naivety, or this destruction of purity that we are likely to be coming to find, or that is playing a role somehow, I feel like is also simultaneously leading to, after we get through this experience, we're going to be doing some things to sort of negate that as this year goes on. Now, this year, I do feel like will be a year of some really, really powerful, like heart-based healing and regenerating some really deep wounds that have prevented us from seeing our true worth and value and potential, and therefore being in a place of self-empowerment up until this point of time. But 2023, like I said, it will be a year of empowerment for the individual. And our choice will be between this self-actualization, growth, and development, or this like utter destruction of our ego, illusions, false ideas, and foundations, which may be necessary in order to put us back on that path to self-discovery and to self-growth and to self-actualization, because we're all going there one way or another, whether we go kicking or screaming or not. And not everybody has the same trajectory of awakening. So people are going to be at different places in this experience. But it's like, if we aren't willing to face the truth of ourselves head on, this energy is going to be a lot more difficult to navigate. Value, worth, and status, what we've sacrificed or what we have bound ourselves to in order to get that reputation or that status, or what we perceive to be valuable, or to maintain that image. These are also the themes that I feel like are kind of presenting today on January 1st. And again, over the course of this next year, we are coming to the end of, I feel like, sacrificing the authenticity of the truth of our heart in order to maintain some type of status or some type of image or some type of reputation or some type of financial status as well. It's just not going to be worth it to us. We're going to discover throughout the course of this year that it's not worth it to us in terms of the impact that it really is having like on our soul at this point in time. Now, another thing that we need to make note of, and that we need to keep in mind, is that this Venus Pluto conjunction that we have going on to start this year, it's not just to any degree, you guys. It's at a very significant degree, and that degree happens to be 28 degrees of Capricorn, which is the natal Pluto degree of the United States, and Pluto is at this degree right now. So the United States is likely to be very, very specifically impacted by these profound transformations that are going on. There could be major monetary, financial, value, economy, currency based transformations, regenerations, collapses, stuff like that happen over 2023 with Venus, Pluto in exact conjunction at the USA natal return degree. This could be some type of revolution, like currency revolution or financial revolution that goes on in the United States. But generally, this is just indicating collectively that this is a revolution in liberating our heart that we're going to experience throughout the course of this year. And that liberation of the heart that's going on, what it's going to do is it's going to fuel this sense of independence and self-empowerment and ability to take risks and tap our potential. It's doing all the right things. So, we're freeing ourselves from the clutches of evil, essentially, from the darkness that has been having a stranglehold over the human spirit and the human heart for a very long period of time. We are liberating ourselves from that. We are freeing ourselves from that starting in the month of January, but over 2023. And I feel like that is also what is being indicated by Pluto-Venus conjunct at this specific degree to start this year. Corruption and abuse of power and authority within financial and relationship dynamics also very likely to be something that is taking a special prominence this year and that we are no longer standing for. Of course, it may originally present itself as just something that we are struggling with or struggling against. We may gain initially a much greater understanding of these toxic power dynamics or of these imbalances of power that may be preventing us from coming back to this place of wholeness and seeing our value and going in this new direction, or having the courage to like do something new for ourselves or take a risk or realign with the truth of our heart in some type of a way. But ultimately we're taking it back. Like, this is definitely putting a major emphasis on relationships, on financial dynamics, and again, like abuses of power, corruption, and where people in authority have been using or holding power over, or just using it in order to control. Okay. Also the corruption of innocence and purity by people in power as well. This is going to be a major theme this year. We're going to probably see a lot about just corruption in upper management or in government or within elite organizations or financial institutions or within big business, and actually hearing about how people have suffered as a result of that or the impact that it's had. This is stuff that's been happening behind closed doors, you guys, getting the lid blown wide open, and it's going to be sad. Like I was saying, Venus, Pluto, this is going to put a highlight as well on this destruction of innocence or destruction of purity, like sex trafficking and things related to like grooming and sexually corrupting young people and stuff like that. This will be a major theme throughout this year that I feel like will be emerging. Also, distortion of values and distortion of purity generally. However, like I said, it's sort of like this double-edged sword, because while on one hand, it may be really, really hard to digest, and there may be a major element of sort of innocence destroyed in discovering what's been going on behind the surface of things. But on the flip side of that, it's also going to lead to this greatly enhanced desire to like end that. So what starts on one hand as a necessary destruction of innocence in order to expose an ugly truth about something is actually going to lead to the preservation going forward of that innocence and of that beauty and of that purity. So the ugly truths that are exposed initially to start this year are going to lead to the preservation of that which deserves to be preserved and has been leading to some greater, more systemic distortions and issues among society generally. So that's going to sort of, I feel like, get cleared up and cleaned up throughout the course of this year. And it's being indicated with this day as well. But we're also going to be looking at, like I said, how money and influence and status and blackmail specifically, I think that's going to be something that really comes out and is a thing that is like more recognized and talked about as a mechanism and a means of how power is exerted in order to maintain control and influence. I feel like blackmail and the exposure of how blackmail has been used to manipulate people is going to be a major theme that comes out this year as well, used to manipulate, control, and enslave and coerce people into doing things that are against their interests or against the interests of others. Again, this is a period of time, this is a year that's going to be empowering the individual, and it's happening through so many different energetic means that are just it coming through this year and that are supporting this process. But it's going to expose, like I said, how charm and celebrity have been used to influence and control, and it's also very likely having to do with financial corruption and abuse that's gone on. People are going to be spontaneously also breaking addictions, leaving abusive relationships this year. This may be, and again, like I'm talking about it in the context of this year because this is sort of the energy, this is the thumbprint for this year. If we're looking at January 1st as the first day of our year. And this is a very significant layout of planets to have as that thumbprint. But, you know, in the context of what's coming as well, and just this day itself, like there could just be some, we might just feel like we're ready to move on from something, or something isn't serving us anymore. It's just this spontaneous desire or waking up in some way or gaining access to information that is changing things for us somehow. People spontaneously making different choices, are no longer wanting to be attached to things in the same way. In terms of today, though, specifically, you know, in our experience on the ground today, money, value, worth could be primary themes. Also power struggles, intense and obsessive feelings, or releasing something that we've been obsessing about. Like this could also be something that is going on today, specifically likely about relationships or other people. I will say Pluto in a conjunction to Venus, this is notorious for creating circumstances where people can be just straight up cruel and maniacal and evil and vengeful and sociopathic almost. The devil has a very pretty face when we have Venus and Pluto in a conjunction, and it can kind of bring out the worst in people in order to achieve an end or achieve an outcome or get what we desire. It's a very coercive and manipulative energy, and people like to prey on other people for their own means and their own purposes when we have Venus in a conjunction with Pluto, which again is why over the course of this year we are likely to really discover where people have been preying on other people, specifically the more innocent type of people, for their own purposes or in order to maintain power and control and break that cycle, really. But don't engage, you guys, today with risky behavior. Don't tempt people. Don't manipulate people. And be careful also what you are attaching yourself to. Don't buy what people are saying necessarily. This is a very seductive energy, very manipulative energy. People, it's like a silver tongue type of energy as well. You know, people can just be very influential and very charismatic and very charming, but they generally don't have the best intentions. Like there's generally an ulterior motive. So it's just a good day to sort of be very wary of your surroundings. Don't take unnecessary risks. Don't walk down a dark alley at night, you know what I mean, by yourself when we have Pluto in the conjunction to Venus. But it's really about these powerful people being exposed. Like, I feel like that is ultimately what this energy is about. It also, because of the moon's position in Taurus at the Chiron point, this could be triggering some deep wounds or insecurities. Remember, the black moon's also in opposition. So Chiron point and black moon as well brought into this Venus-Pluto conjunction, deep wounds and insecurities that have people acting out in very possessive or controlling ways. Personality disorders, you guys, and people that don't have a very strong conscious ability to control themselves are likely to be really seeking out externally, trying to control others in this Venus-Pluto energy. possessive, controlling, obsessive, compulsively doing things. People don't want to lose anything. There's a sense of desperation also, and this sense of like profound inner emptiness. Again, this lack internally that can cause people to really do some really crazy maniacal stuff when we've got this type of intense Pluto Venus energy with also the moon in Taurus and in the conjunction of the Chiron point. So very intense energy, very obsessive energy. You might find yourself just sort of like obsessively thinking about something today and it will pass. This is just sort of the nature of how this vibe works. However, there is sort of like another dimension to the energy today that actually like really wants us to lighten up a little bit and not take things so seriously, even though this is like a very kind of serious and intense type of energy. We have both the Earth and Jupiter today at interesting degrees. On Sunday, January 1st, the Earth is at 11 degrees of Cancer, a clown caricaturing well-known personalities. And we also have Jupiter at 2 degrees of Aries, a comedian entertaining the group. These are both the only two Sabian symbols that talk about like clowns and caricatures and comedic behavior going on. And we have the Earth and Jupiter, both at these degrees in the context of all of this dark black moon, Pluto, underworld, Venus energy. Okay. So even though things could seem a bit intense or a bit dark right now, like universe is telling us to try to laugh it off, to try to be as lighthearted as possible about whatever ugliness we're facing right now. We also have Mercury at 24 degrees of Capricorn. That Sabian symbol is a woman entering a convent. So we should do our best today, I feel like, to sort of guard our mind, guard our heart, like I was saying, not allow ourselves to be seduced by whatever shiny thing might come our way today, and try to look at things through this more light-hearted perspective in alignment with our faith. And any way that we can laugh at ourselves or our scenario or even the villains in our stories today, caricature them a little bit, like this is what is supported and this is gonna actually benefit us in the context of whatever darker energy we may be navigating to start our January, to start our week. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. We have done it. We have gone through the whole month of January. We have talked about the year of 2023. We've talked specifically about January 1st. And so I'm going to stop talking, and that's all I'm going to say. So I hope you guys liked it. I hope I was able to provide something for you that can give you a little bit of whatever you may be desiring or needing to know or whatever as we go through this beginning of January, head towards January and start this new year. If you guys did like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would like this type of astrology, be interested in this type of content as well. Leave me comments. I love you guys' comments. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your presence, and I really love knowing how this energy is affecting you as well. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a website, and some other social medias. Those are in my description box below. And come back with me on Tuesday, you guys. I'm not going to be doing a video for tomorrow because this is a lot to digest right here, but I will be back on Tuesday and we will get started on our dailies for the week. So I will see you then. I'll be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it, guys. And have a beautiful New Year's Day, beautiful January 1st, and I will see you then. Bye, guys.